Здравствуйте, my friends, and welcome back to Everlasting Summer, or to be more accurate, to Wintertale, the prequel slash sequel slash whatever school to Everlasting Summer. I only know that this was made in the very early stages of the game. I think in 2011, if I remember correctly. So I don't know if it's canon anyway. I don't even know if it's made by the same people who made Everlasting Summer. Well, I mean, if it was if the team was 100% the same, I'm not even sure about that. So I'm really pumped to do this. You know, in the ending with Everlasting Summer, I had a few problems. I mentioned that. And yeah, there were some things I did not like about the ending, but overall this is one of my absolute favorite playthroughs in this game. I had so much fun, especially so much fun with you people. I got so many likes and comments from all over the world, especially Eastern Europe, of course. I got likes and comments from Russia, from Kazakhstan, from Ukraine, from Belarus. It's so amazing. Like, that is what the internet is all about. Bringing people together and just enjoying themselves, you know? Nothing counts, it doesn't matter where you're from, all that matters is that you enjoy yourself together. And that is actually something that I really appreciate, and I wish real life could be more like this, you know? Anyway, before I get sadly political or anything like that, Jesus, if I want all people to leave, I should probably do that. I jump right into this mod. Or sequel, prequel, since it was made by Soviet games. Or at least it's what Soviet games was in 2011. Oh, that is actually a nice view from above. And I guess it's Sovyonok. Probably, at least. I like the coloring looked really good. Oh, is that Genda? Well, he looks quite different, to be honest. Also, if this was the main plaza, like in the game, then it looked kinda different. Everything in this life has a beginning and an end. Ah, yeah, we start out there again, huh? There would be no life without death, and no joy of a long-awaited meeting without parting. Well, you say that, but I don't believe that. But okay. Different philosophies. Unless the universe itself could break this rule at the very beginning. But we can't know this. Everything has its cause and consequence. One thing leads to another. Motivation of our actions, their outcome. This invisible thread runs through our existence. What would have happened if I didn't? If you didn't what? Oh, the library. I'm pretty sure it looks different in the final game. Some posters, and I'm not too sure though. I think I mentioned that I haven't played this game by now for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I kind of but I think some details are different. I'm pretty sure. I was distracted from these existential thoughts by a heavy blow on the head. It hurts. Oh God. I presume you are Genia. I looked up and saw annoyed Genia hanging over me. Daydreaming again? Huh? Can't I reflect upon my own thoughts? I replied resentfully. As much as you want, but please do it elsewhere. As if I'm bothering you. Just fancy. She set the glasses straight, casually, and stared out of the window. Genia's always like this. Affected seriousness, excessive self-confidence, and belief in her rightness. Desire to show that she knows everything better than others. I uttered after a moment of silence. Aren't you homesick? Why? She looked at me bewildered. Well, I am. You've spent less than a week here. Yeah, right, but I didn't know what to say next and gave a deep sigh. You have something to miss then? Genia made a serious face. Not really. Why then? Well, you see, I thought everything would be different here. Haven't you ever been to a camp before? No, I admitted honestly. And what have you expected? I really wonder how this plays out in the canon. Although, I mean, the canon itself of this game is Swiss cheese, to be honest. Murder me in the comments for that one, if you feel like it. I always appreciate comments, even if they are hateful. And what have you expected? Well, yay! Well, at least the trumpet stayed the same. Do they say whistle, please? Oh, music, too bad. No, it wasn't whistle. I always say whistle, but it didn't say whistle. What was the word again they always used in the translation? I don't remember. At this moment, I heard the music calling pioneers for lunch. I was unspeakably happy about it, as I didn't know how to answer a question anyway. Shall we go? She smiled for the first time this day. Yes, I answered absently. Yeah, the square looks really different. I thought everything was much more far away, like, I presume in the... Now I can at least use my mouse cursor. I presume this is something like the lunch place? I'm not too sure about this, but at least I always thought that the bungalows would be way more far away from the square. And actually the picture of the square in the final game made you believe so as well. Oh well. I stopped in the square. You know, I should drop by my tent. Go on. Okay. Okay, she goes a separate way, I see. Jania shrugged her shoulders and went to the canteen. I waited till she was out of sight, sat on the bench, buried my face in my hands and sighed in exhaustion. No, I definitely wasn't going to come back to the tent, knowing that Electronic was there. Oh, you are roommates? Cool. You know, that is also something I think came a little bit short in the main game. The relationship between Electronic and Semyon. Like, that would have been actually kinda cool. These days I got sick of him blabbering about robots, cybernetics and science fiction. I was already willing to live on the street, provided that I wouldn't see his ever-smiling face anymore. It was absolutely obvious that not all of the tents were occupied, which means there were vacant places. But I simply couldn't dispute with Olga. It's so sad that I always say just Olga instead of Olga Dmitrievna. Whoa, that was better than I did in the beginning. Maybe I learned some Russian through this. Yeah, I'm now master of the Russian language by reading a Russian game in English. Jesus. But afterwards I'm kinda regretful that I didn't say Olga Dmitrievna. Yeah, that was kinda right. But the problem is, as you see, my pronunciation. It's not the best. Really, it isn't. When she lodged me with this furniture luminary in Soviet science. I have never been good at arguing. So I've been for already 7 days in this camp. 7 darned, needless, useless and pointless days. My initial fear and horror when I thought that I had died and gone to hell was forgotten by now. Ah, so it's like the main game, only in winter. Okay, I can dig that. All silly theories of alien abduction, government experiments, or a time hole were forgotten. The chance to start my life anew, to forget the past, its mistakes and losses. I didn't feel euphoric about all this anymore. Now I was left with a rotten anthrax of the present and vague future, which I believed would hardly ever come. I was surrounded by old, frayed, wrecked puppets of local inhabitants, pioneers, and their leaders. Who are they anyway? What are they? They are barely an excuse for a human being, causing a compassionate smile or a wild grin, a misplaced, grotesque touch to a picture of purgatory wallowing in sins and vices, my last refugee in this life. I spitted in disgust and punched on the bench. Oh, he punched on the bench. I was already thinking like his his spitting is like the strongest spit in the world. I tried to spend all my free time in the library. Why not? In the end, it was the only place that reminded me of my old life. The same books that I once read, from Pushkin's and Andersen's tales to Sholokov's and Platonov's life story of real men. Okay, I know Pushkin. But the other three sirs are not people I have ever read something of. I'm pretty sure I heard of Sholokov, but, or Sholokhov probably, KH, I presume. But the other two men are totally foreign to me. Probably have to look that up. Really, I know way too little about Russian literature. I read a lot of or a lot of books written by Tolstoy. There we go, English language. But except for Tolstoy, I haven't read that much Russian literature, which is actually kind of sad. Of course, here was no science fiction, which I liked the most. Sheckley, Gilyasny, Heinlein. Okay, I don't know these people, but I have no idea about science fiction. It's no surprise. As it turned out, in Soviet Russia, science fiction was written about you. I wonder what this joke was in original Russian. Like, is it the same way like the Soviet Russia joke? Does that work in Russia? Soft crackle of pages, yellow from time. Thick covers, worn backs, and the scent of book dusts, which can't be confused with anything. I would have gone mad long ago, without these common things, of which I once took no notice, considering them quite ordinary. So, in this game you were more of a book guy. You weren't in the main game. Maybe I'm in a book myself now, and everything that's going on was conceived by an unseen genius. Going on. By the way, what's actually going on? During these 7 days, absolutely nothing has happened to me. Nothing. I've been eating, sleeping, reading, eating, sleeping. Could it be some serious psychologic drama? A tragedy of an unwanted man? I grinned. There was something else in the library, though. Something that made me rush there in a frosty morning before breakfast, making my way through snowdrifts and shivering with cold. Something I couldn't yet admit. Oh. Was this, what do you call that in English? I have no idea. Was that there before? The sun topped the horizon, giving out no warmth to the frozen camp. And just who hit on the idea of sending children here in the winter? Surely it was nowhere near summer when I was pulled out of my past, but still. Huh, okay. In the real world, now I get it. I tried to remember if camps actually worked in winter, but it was in vain. Snowflakes slowly fell on Ganda's head. Trees were covered by a white veil of snow, and frozen puddles glinted in the sun beyond all bearing. By the way, I really like this music. This track, I would have loved this track in the real game. I'm pretty sure this one wasn't in the real game, but I really enjoy it. A Wintertale, idle. That what I could have thought of the scenery in another situation. I stood up reluctantly and looked at the watch. I still had time before lunch. Of course, a Russian winter landscape. It's like, if you think of a winter landscape, you automatically, at least in Germany, you automatically think of Russia. It's like these two things that are always like, it fits, you know, it just fits. Russian winter landscape. That is actually something I want to see in my life. That is actually something I want to see in my life. Oh! The canteen. I think the canteen looks the same. Cabbage soup, pasta and a cutlet. The food didn't matter to me at all. May I? Oh god, Slavia. You look different as well. Still picking at my food, I looked up and saw Slavia. I don't know. I shrugged. Whoops. Screen changing. You look way younger, Slavia. What happened to you? Are you suddenly now 12? Are you the Ulyana in this version of the game? She sat down across from me and smiled. Why are you sad again? Why again? You are always sad. She put on a serious face. Am I? I answered absently. You are. Do you think no one notices? To tell the truth, I didn't care at all. I'm sorry. There's nothing to apologize to me for. She frowned. I'm trying what is best. I was about to say, leave me alone then, but restrained myself. Thanks for your care, I said indifferently. Do you, perhaps, want to have a talk? Not really. What did I have to talk to her about? You'll feel better. Are you a psychologist or something? I replied crossly. See, you are angry. Yes, I'm sorry, I said, reverting to my normal state of apathy. Which means that I'm right. Yes, undoubtedly. You're not listening to me. Exactly. See? I fully agree. Slavia took the tray and got up from the table in silence. Asshole. Asshole, but that is Semyon-like. At least he kept his character through the games. I didn't even raise my head to follow her with my eyes. After all, I'm not 5 years old, and I'm not a girl to play dolls. Thank you, assbag. I appreciate your honesty. Not too much. I finished my lunch and headed back to the library. Here, I'm back, I said with a yawn. But Genia wasn't at her usual place. Oh no, you're Ulyana. Hi there! To be honest, I love this design. Holy shit, I really like this design of her. The hair and the glasses. That looks really, really awesome. Too bad they didn't keep these glasses. Okay, it would have made no sense in summer. I get it, but look at these. These look awesome. And her hair. Maybe they should have. I think I would have kept it more like this in the final character sprite, but that's just my opinion. Also, CCCP scarf instead of the T-shirt, because Soviet Union, you know. Ulyana was sitting at the table. Why on earth are you here? It doesn't look like you can read at all. Oh, come on, she flared. Do you ever smile? No, I cut short. Indeed, for the last few weeks I haven't had a chance to. How can you live like this? As you can see, I can somehow. To put it more precisely, I existed without much strain, waiting for the end. You're such a bore. But you're much too cheerful. Everything is according to the conservation law. The law of conservation of dejection. What? Ulyana giggled. Okay, I don't understand that one. Alright, if you want to stay here, be quiet. Don't disturb my reading. What are you reading? Books. Having made a face, I answered. This is so boring. It may be for children. Children are smarter than many grown-ups. Especially you, Ulyana. You were way smarter than Semyon in your route. She smirked. One can tell that, but please, grow wiser in silence. Okay. Genia asked me to sit here till you come. You're here, so I'm off. She bounced out of the chair and hurried to the exit. Hang on. And where's Genia? She's busy. What does that mean? During all this time that I've spent here, she was a willing prisoner of the library, together with me. She's preparing for the evening. What's gonna happen this evening? Ulyana didn't answer, laughed, and ran out into the street. I stared at the door for some time, then I sat down and took the first book I found. New scene. No, same scene. The Soviet classic is, of course, a good thing, but I've never particularly liked it. Soon I became bored with it. The Soviet classic. I presume you mean classical Soviet literature. I put the book aside, or is the Soviet classic a book? Is that a book? If you know, let me know in the comments. I put the book aside, dropped my head on the table and closed my eyes. How much time is left for me, I wonder? I've already stopped asking myself about my whereabouts and why I'm exactly here and not in some other place. After all, such a sudden change of the surroundings, if I could call it like that, hasn't altered neither me nor my attitude to life. Does it matter where to be depressed, if one could describe my condition this way? Very good sentence here. I think it is... That shows that Semyon is still, analyzing himself. He just doesn't say, I'm depressed. Like, of course I'm depressed. I'm sitting at home. He's still conscious that it is not necessarily an illness, Oh, but don't get me wrong, I don't want to say that depression isn't a thing. Depression is a thing, let me tell you that one. I know many people who had to suffer through this, and that is no joke. But Semyon doesn't come across really as depressed. I mean, he's socially awkward, definitely, but not really depressed, at least not in my book. But I'm no psychologist, really. Being within four walls at home or boxed up in the office, being atop of a forbidding summit, making the last spurt at the breaking point of one's abilities, or being in a heavenly valley, chewing a grass blade blissfully. What does it matter now, if even this couldn't change my approach to life? I recalled what had happened a week, a month, a year ago. Lately, my old life often flashed before my eyes, merging into an indiscreet motley blot. The palette was mainly black and white, though. I wasn't scared. There was simply nothing to be scared of. There was nothing to remember, nothing to care of, nothing to strive for. Were the cause and circumstances of my death really that important? To die either of loneliness within four walls, or in the strange camp of something else? To me it made no difference. Okay, this sounds rather depressed though. Again? Genia sighed. I raised my eyes and looked at her warily. What else can I do? I answered with a forced smile. Aren't you sick of this yourself? Sick of what? Do you really like reading that much? I do. What is wrong with it? No, nothing. Maybe you should move here. She burst out laughing. Why, that's a great idea. I peered at her. It was hard to say what she was thinking of at one time or another. Perhaps we were somewhat alike. The same inscrutable mask, only the pattern is different. It was either our similarity or something else that had influenced me so much over the last week. Thirst for knowledge and reading surely wasn't the main reason why I was sitting in the library day and night. So is this intertwined with the Genia DLC somehow? Like this is how they got to know each other or something? An awkward silence ensued. It had to be broken. Broken, smashed, annihilated, turned into an unison of merry voices. At least I wished for it at that moment, and I said, You know, I love you. Oh! Well, that happened. The words were said in a calm voice, though my heart was beating wildly in the chest, as if it got tired of watching my despondency, and decided to leap out and live its own life full of joy and happiness. She stared at me as if she saw a ghost. You're crazy! I didn't answer, just kept staring at her as if nothing had happened. Genia ran off from me and hid behind the bookcase. Yeah, perfect place to hide. Are you serious? She spoke so low, I could hardly make out the words. Yeah, why not? You're definitely crazy. I've suspected this for a long time. Why? Because you just can't, all of a sudden. You can't for no reason. Why? She didn't answer. Indeed, why have I said all this? What is the point? Even if I do have feelings for this girl, telling all this on the spur of the moment. Hey, what? Oh, whoops, my bad. She probably think I'm insane. Or rather, she already thinks so. I recalled all the time I've spent here. All my memories were connected with her, whether they were good or bad. The library, books, Genia. Why? I repeated my question. There was no answer. I looked out of the window. The night was falling on the camp. Yet another meaningless cold day was coming to an end. Genia ran out from behind the bookcase. She was still blushing like she had been after my words. You... She didn't finish the phrase and rushed to the library exit. I stared blankly at the door slammed behind her. You don't know how to treat women well, Semyon. So then, something has changed in my life, and not only over the last week. I must have committed an act, the meaning of which I still can't perceive. Was there a meaning at all? What does the future hold for me? Why am I here to begin with? An act. Nothing of the kind. I laughed. An act. There was no such a word in my vocabulary. I don't know what you're talking about. I think that made more sense in Russian. I laid my head on my arms again and closed my eyes. I felt about for the table lamp switch and pushed it with effort. The translation is a bit clunky, I have to say. I am sometimes puzzled what actually is the meaning of some sentences. Whoops. Not that I'm complaining. I'm just witnessing, you know. I'm just happy that it is in English, as usual. I think he looked for the lamp on the table with his hands or something. I think that is probably what is meant with this sentence. And pushed it with effort. The room lit up with a dim light, which was enough for only a couple of meters. Oh my God, Alisa, what did you do to your hair? Don't you know that you don't play with electricity? Alisa stood in front of me. Seems I've already seen her so many times. Of course, we met at breakfast, even talked about something. That is not the point. It seems I saw her not only today, yesterday, or the day before yesterday. It seems I've known her for already many years. It applies to everyone in this camp. Oh, so you probably have made a few returns to the camp already. I suppose, at least. The library, the canteen, the square, the bus stop of that damned route 410. I've become aware of their reality just recently. But I knew at heart that I'd seen that before. It couldn't be even called déjà vu. I'd rather looked like an annoying desktop wallpaper, which one couldn't be bothered to change. You forgot about it long ago. Forgot why you had set that wallpaper. Forgot its meaning. One day you come up on it in the internet and try hard to remember where you've seen it, having forgotten completely that here it is on your desktop like an eyesore. I was sure I'd find you here. Alisa looked at me intently. It wasn't hard to guess. And what do you want from a humble civil servant, ma'am? She smiled. An extension cord should be here about. Why here? You'd better ask Jinya about it, I answered reluctantly. I tried, but she's not in her right mind now. No wonder. Now why? I have no clue. Alisa shrugged her shoulders. She looks like she has seen a ghost. That is quite possible. I got up from the table with effort. Wait a minute. During the week that I've spent in the camp, I've explored the library perfectly well. One could say I've become someone like an assistant librarian, so I had no problem finding the extension. While I was away to get it, Alisa turned on the lights. Here you are. Isn't there a longer one? There hardly is. I weighed up that the cord was about 50 meters, no less. Alright, that's something at least, Alisa said and went out of the library. I had no desire to ask what she needed it for. In the end, if I don't pry into other people's affairs, they won't probably poke their noses in mine. You are really a boring version of Semyon, I have to say. I didn't want to read at all. I was just sitting and looking out of the window at the falling snow. There were no thoughts in my mind. I was completely appeased. Over this week I've experienced all kinds of emotions. Fear, despair, apathy, indifference, despair once again. Probably this palette lacked bright colors. Where would they come from, though? I looked at the watch. It was nearly 10 p.m. Looks like I've overslept dinner after all. Yeah, but you overslept dinner by a mile, my friend. Well, it's no wonder. In winter the days drag on slowly, but one has only to forget about it, to close one's eyes for just a moment, and a considerable amount of time is left out of your life. If you say so. I sighed and made for the exit. What's the camp like in summer, I wonder? In winter there's definitely nothing to do here, at least in the evening. I wonder if this was the original game plan, like the game should play in winter instead of summer. Or maybe they just chose this different scenario since it's different. I don't know. I decided to come back into the tent and go to bed early. Oh my god, look at First I looked at the Christmas tree, but then my next view went to, what was his name again? Jesus Gander, there we go. Look at his Christmas man, what do you call it in English? Jesus. Santa Claus, there we go. In German, Santa Claus is the Christmas man. Although, it's actually, the origin of Santa Claus is actually quite interesting. In Germany we have a celebration day for Santa Claus, or his equivalent, Saint Nicholas, where Santa Claus came from. We celebrate his day on the 6th of December. So, I think, but the whole Santa Claus concept came to America via the Netherlands, I think. So it's actually pretty interesting and all, but just on a side note. Having reached the square, I didn't realize at first what was happening. A fir tree, garlands, Gander wearing Father Frost's cap. Of course, in Russia, Father Frost. Even in Germany, we know Father Frost. Although, isn't like Father Frost, isn't that like, not on Christmas, but, it's a different day, isn't it? Or I'm not too sure. Let me know in the comments. Oh, I think I already said, like, let me know 3 things this time. Sorry if I bother you people. If I'm bothering you too much, you don't need to answer. Gander wearing Father Frost's cap. Pioneers bustling about. Hey! I called to Lena running by me. Oh, Lena looks pretty much like her latest bride. I mean, her latest bride was better drawn, but the style, the sprite's style is still the same. Let's put it like that. She stopped and looked at me shyly. What's actually going on here? Well, it's New Year. I see. I already told you, Father Frost is not Christmas. There we go. She smiled faintly. New Year. A warp could begin and come to an end, and I would miss it. But then it's no wonder. It is winter, and I don't know the exact date. There's a high possibility that today is December the 31st. Oh, I see. I drawled. So, you're getting ready. We are. Well, it's good. Yeah. She was still looking at me as if she was trying to understand what I wanted from her. Well, good luck then. I was about to go on, but suddenly Lena stopped me, pulling me slightly by the sleeves. Were you unaware of it? It slipped my mind somehow. I lied. Well, it's true, it really slipped your mind. Or you didn't know at least. Well, it seems she got even more confused. New Year is so exciting. I have no doubt, I replied sarcastically. Aren't you happy? Why, of course I am. That's good. Seems she hasn't catched my sarcasm. Will you, perhaps, help us? Help you? Who said I needed to? Just a week ago I lived my usual life in a familiar world. And then everything turned upside down. What is more, it's New Year here. I've never liked this holiday. But Lena was looking at me in such a way that I had to answer something. Well, okay, why not? And the way he is helping her, we'll see in the next episode. So this is actually quite interesting. That is actually quite interesting. I really like this track in the background, by the way. I'm not too sure if it was in the main game, though. It seems kind of familiar. I think this track right here. Yeah, that was in the main game, definitely. Or at least something very similar. All the times when something magical happened, you know. But anyway, I enjoy this. I really want to see what they do with that. We'll see. But Semyon is an asshole, as always, so we keep the tone of the main game. Yeah. And if you enjoyed this as well, come back. So thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye bye!